creature so foul, so cruel, that no man yet has fought with it and lived. There he is.
Where?
There.
What, behind the rabbit?
It is the rabbit.
You silly sod!
What?
You got us all worked up!
Well, that's no ordinary rabbit.
You tit!
Good evening and welcome to the Joust. My name is Nagy. I'm here once again with my co-host, Liam Francis McNeil, my hard solo to my regular solo, because I'm the regular solo and you're the hard solo, Liam. You have so much more to give. No
I'm also still full of alcohol.
It's also true. That represents how much we celebrated on Sunday.
You don't know these younger jousters, but when you have a day like we had on Sunday, it takes several days to recover. So I'm still somewhat of a husk. I'm husking today.
The age that we are, it really comes with so much more risk, I suppose. You know, you have to.
And the 400 drinks.
Yeah, the 400
with a
drinks.
fair bit of risk.
Yeah. You've been there before. You've seen all the hangovers, but they don't hurt any less.
No, you forget every time you get on the drink. Like, this one will be different.
It was
Today's going to be a different one.
Well, if there's a time to celebrate, Liam, it has to be celebrating the Newcastle Knights over the Rabbitohs, 7 in a row, which I thought was unprecedented, but apparently it's very well precedented.
1997, as Linda McNeil pointed out a couple of weeks back when we were in our 5-game streak. She said, Liam, you didn't know this.
We also
Last time
heard
was 97.
But we also heard that 1995 they did it 9 times in a row.
What?
9 times.
9 times?
Yeah.
That's almost 10.
That's almost 10.
It's more than 8.
And also, I'm sorry to break it to you, Linda McNeil. I do love you, but 2001 we did it 8 games.
Oh,
in a row.
Linda,
yeah,
come on.
That's right. She's had a quick look at the stats, but she's no longer. She's been relieved of her duties as our official stats person.
David Middleton has just been scrubbed out of Mum's teledex.
Before we jump straight into the miraculous Knights win against South, we got to talk about everything else Newcastle, everything else the news being the news. So much is happening in the news, Liam, but it's mainly player trading earlier on. The players are going each which way. There's re-signings, there's moving across, there's moving overseas.
It's a lot to keep up with, you know. They don't understand at the NRL that we're just two men. We've got things to do. It's hard to keep up with all the player movements. It's insane.
This segment is as much for me and Liam as it is for anyone else. It's literally watching the news come in. And we got to start with the first of the player is our very own Bradman Best, the thumb, Liam. He came out early in the season and said, I want to stay with the Newcastle Knights.
He said he wanted to be a Knight for life. If that's not a direct quote, then that's what I felt from him. That's what I, gauged from Bradman. Knight for life, which was such a wonderful sentence to see now.
And then he's going to change his management, and everyone said, "Oh, he's changing his management. He's going to go to the open market. He's going to be played out there like horses, like we did in the graphics."
There's not a dodgier group of people in the world than NRL player agents.
Oh, no,
they're
just
slimy.
slimy.
They're just dodgy as all hell.
They are.
There's underhanded dealings. There's going to the market. There's testing the market. There's all these sorts of filthy undercurrents.
For all that money, that filthy money.
Get their hands. That's all it's all about.
Yeah, he did.
It's all about the money.
He questioned whether there is a Bali league that he could play in. He found out there isn't a Bali league that he can play in, so he's decided to stay with the Newcastle Knights with his brand new management. He said, "Start talking to the Knights because I want to stay here for life." The same news that it was 16 weeks ago.
Well, the thing about that as well is that we had a look at the contract, Joust. We had a quick look at what Phil was offering, and Phil actually offered a very small island that he owns for Bradman to build up an entire infrastructure.
Entire town.
He said, all right, part of your contract, off the cap, of course, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
I've got a small island, off the northeast coast of Australia.
He doesn't own it. It's a 99-year lease.
It's got no buildings. Bradman, go over there, build us a house, shopping centre.
Sewage
Probably
system.
needs a hospital.
Yeah. It needs everything.
It's the Christmas island.
Doesn't need a construction company because you've got a one-man construction company in Bradman Best, and I couldn't be happier to keep him.
It's a wonderful feeling. It's a wonderful feeling because the shills, the Murdoch shills, earlier in the year were saying that he's being shopped around. He's being shopped around. They just had their article when the Knights aren't doing good. It's player X shopped around.
He's got to leave.
He's got to go.
Yeah.
There's salary cap pressure, they
Pressure,
said.
of course.
Yeah,
Where's
there's always salary cap pressure.
Where's the pressure now? Not on us. That's
You shills.
You shills. But then when we say hello, or maybe welcome once again, Bradman Best, we must say
Still hello.
Still hello. Hello again. We must say goodbye to another favourite son who really it's a hello goodbye because he hasn't been around for very long. A very Lachlan Miller.
Well, it's kind of like a bit of a, the old saying, Joust, is the flash in the pan. It was a very small flash, and it wasn't a very big pan, but it was still a flash in the pan, no less.
Yeah.
I hate to see a Group 2 specialist like myself peak very early in his career and collapse into a dying star, much like I did myself in my life. So maybe it's a theme that, Group 2 people, we shine bright, we shine for not a very long time, and then we get put out to pasture.
We remember you, Lachlan Miller, as not being once a night, always a night. He'll be there on Old Boys Day for years and years to come. But of course, he was there in the Olympics, the Moscow Olympics.
Moscow Olympics, 1980.
Shared a room with Garth Delancey.
The great swimmer Garth Delancey,
exactly.
Yeah, the Penguin Man, you might know him better as Justice.
He does some work for Penguin Mufflers now. But he's he's Olympics, got a long lineage of athletic career. And the Newcastle Knights is part of that lineage, and we thank you for it, Lachlan. Thank you.
I also feel for the man. I really do feel for the man. Growing up in such a tropical paradise as I did in Sawtell, and then having to move to Leeds.
Leeds.
What the hell? He'll be homesick before he ends up jumping off at Heathrow.
Well, you always said, Leeds. It's always Leeds or Warrington.
That's the only two. There's 4 teams in the Super League that are good. St Helens, Leeds, the other Leeds, and Warrington.
Warrington, yeah.
That's it.
2 Leeds.
There's 2 Leeds. There's 2 Hulls.
Yeah. Uddersfield.
There's about 10 teams that come each from a city of 4 people. I don't know why it's such a big competition.
Well, that's why they need the Australians to go over there, because if there was no Australians feeding into them constantly,
it'd be terrible.
They'd run out of people immediately. There's barely enough to cover the teams as it is.
You run Hull KR out against the Scone Thoroughbreds, they'd get done by 60.
I was watching a game the other day, and they asked one of the players to be the referee for the week. They said, "Can you just come on and hold the whistle?" They said, "We don't have anyone else."
And we got no whistle. Lucky it was a good Australian there, as we discussed earlier. The gum.
Oh,
the gum leaf.
The gum leaf. Yeah. You could do the 2 fingers.
Oh, really well. Yeah. You probably heard me actually in the telecast on Sunday. I think I deafened everyone around us. There was some poor young children sitting in front of us, and I felt so guilty for the things that they heard.
Yeah.
And the volume at which they heard them. But we were in the moment.
We were.
We can't be blamed for being in the moment.
We were stuck in the moment. What else is in the news, guys? We got the, of course, when another player that's very well known in Corey Oates from the Broncos. Now, it's well established that Dom Young's leaving. He'd signed the contract well before the season started, but slightly before round 1. But we decided that, we were like, we hate you, Dom. No, in fact, we love you. We want you to stay.
That was the exact emotional roller coaster that I went on. I went from hating him to really quite loving him so quickly. Again, I have Sam behind the buttons there to thank for that. He said, Liam, you should open your heart to Dom, and I did, and I'm so glad that I did.
And we're sad that he's going. He seems to be irreplaceable, but there's a Corey Oates. Is he the replacement for Dom Young? But
he may be a replacement in the physical sense that he will be in the same position wearing a similar sized jersey, because they are similar sized fellas. But I think that's where maybe the replacement value will end.
He's 29, Corey Oates. He's thumbed his
nose. He's been around forever.
Oh, yeah. Almost 200 first grade games, 199, 118 tries. He's not new to the try
strike
line.
rate.
He could have been the best winger ever if he didn't decide he wanted to play second row for those 2 years there.
And Wayne Bennett entertained him.
Yeah.
He said, we'll give you go
Wayne
second
Bennett?
row. I think it was Bennett.
No, it was the one after.
Oh, Seabold.
Seabold.
Oh, that's why it was a dumb idea.
Yeah, that's why it was a dumb idea.
I was thinking before that. I was like, why would Wayne Bennett have played him at second row? But he didn't.
He didn't, yeah.
I think Wayne Bennett even said, no, you're not.
Yeah. Well, that's what you need. He's needs to be a dad. Can I go out? No, you're not. You're staying at home. You've got school tomorrow.
That's what they don't tell you when you're learning to be a rugby league coach. You just need to be a dad.
Yeah.
Just father.
So many of these players don't have fathers. Right? That's why Wayne Bennett. Now he's everyone's grandfather. He's the grandfather of the game. And Gus Gould's the weird uncle that you see every other Christmas. But when there's...
And you're going to hushed tones when he always plays. Oh, we don't want Uncle Phil to hear what we're talking about.
Uncle Gus is coming again? Oh, no. Hide the good wine.
After Anzac Day of 2022, Uncle Phil's back.
There's a bit of player movement with the Newcastle Knights. Obviously, Jed Cartwright's the latest one coming coming in. Jack Cogger from the School of Unremarkable Boys, Kane Pierce-Paul, and Will Price, all coming. Now, the graphic up there will say 2025, but that's not when they're arriving.
That's until 2025. Because I remember Adam O'Brien was jostling for an early release of those 2 young English boys, but they wouldn't let us have them. Uddersfield.
One of them's from Uddersfield again.
They said no. But do you think Corey Goats is a good signing?
Corey Goats?
That's what Brisbane called him, because Brisbane fans call him that because he's wonderful.
Oh, wonderful! I thought
he's very good.
you slipped a tongue.
No. I did, but I think that's what they call him. Anyway.
Yeah.
I think he's pretty good.
Well, we know that there's some good Broncos supporter friends of ours that are very upset that if he was to leave.
That's how you know it's a good signing. If the fans of the team are upset,
doesn't want him to go.
Yeah, they don't want him to go. They come up and shake your hand and say, "Well done, you got him. That's great." Yeah. Then they want him out. They want him done.
He's like that last slice of pizza when you're sharing it with someone. You're like, I don't want to have that. I'm full, but you don't say it. And then someone's like, "Oh, is anyone going to have that last slice of pizza?" You're like, "Fuck yes, I will have that last slice of pizza." You don't touch it.
See, I never entertained the thought that I won't eat the last piece.
Yeah, I know you're a hungry boy.
Yeah, I'm a hungry boy. Very hungry boy.
There we go. We've got
Thank you to the wonderful people at Domino's for healing my soul yesterday.
Corey Goats.
I don't know what Uncle Dominic does to those Italian toasts, but Christ, they're amazing.
They're not wrong.
Just all the pepperoni in the world.
Corey Goats, we're off to a flyer today. Dragons. The Dragons can, they're in a rebuild, Liam, and it's important when you rebuild, you don't make any rash decisions. You don't go out there and you don't hit the player mark and you say, I'm going to get whoever's available, because that leads to a much, much longer rebuild.
But that's one of the funniest things about watching teams rebuild. Of course, when it's the Knights, it's not quite so funny because it happens so often, but the knee-jerk signings. The knee-jerks.
We can guarantee this is almost definitely, possibly not a knee-jerk signing, with Shane Flanagan asking Joseph Suwali's availability for 2024 and that year only.
Which is not many years.
No, one.
It's just a solitary year.
Would a very, very good player like to come to our club for 1 year? That's all they're asking. And much similar to Amos Roberts in 2004, he played for Penrith Panthers. He's the highest scoring
23 tries that year.
Highest of the
good memory.
Yeah,
from 4 minutes ago when we looked at it.
And then he went to the Roosters on
they call that the transit lounge. Sometimes he just stops in on his way out the door. We ever had any transit lounge signings, Nagy? Came in for 1 year between 2 good clubs.
Oh, probably Milford.
Oh, Tony Milf.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Tony Milf. What a great night signing.
Jake Clifford was there slightly the year before.
Well, he was planning to be there for longer, but it didn't work out. It just didn't work out.
Amos Roberts famously did it in 2003. He went to Penrith on a 1 year. Sorry, 2004. After they won the premiership, went there for 1 year. Already signed a deal with the Roosters. And John Lane, the coach at the time, said it was like handing back the keys to a Ferrari. I don't know what he was doing to Amos Roberts for the analogy to work, but
it was another good Group 2 success story. Amos Roberts coming, of course, from the Kempsey Dragons.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, we used to play out at Kempsey, and it was a war zone out there. Jesus.
You know you're Dutch. You know you're Dutch. You're Ryan Pappenhuizen.
I believe that translates to paper house.
Paper house.
Yeah. That ancient Danish art of origami.
Yeah.
And I believe that's what his knee was made out of.
Yeah,
because what we see here, Jousters, is that his knee exploded into smithereens.
Beautiful but fragile.
He's a gorgeous boy. He has really nice hair. Lovely fella.
Yeah.
Good boy off the pitch. Not very tall, though.
Oh,
which the Dutch usually are.
The Dutch are
tall
cool people.
Yeah,
is that why the South Africans are so big?
I think it is. That's why South Africans are so big, because of the Dutch people.
The Dutch people.
And the racism that flows through their body.
Everyone was thinking it. Come on, you all know one South African.
I think we all know the same South African as well. I think we all know the same one.
So we got the shattered knee there. It took him more. It
looked like something else got shattered there, didn't it?
Was coming out of his bum in that graphic. It was a really. He said at the time, he's like, I thought I was going to be out for 6 months. I thought this was going to be like an ACL, and then the NRL physio said, no, this is a very, very difficult and long and arduous recovery, and it's proven to be. Now it's been more than a year, but he could come back at the very end of the season, which, as you know, supporting a team that is possibly going to be in the 8 as well. I don't want to see it.
I'd hate to see it, in fact. He's come back for the Sunshine Coast Falcons in the reserve grade in Queensland. He's been okay. Yeah. He's been all right. But you would think a player of his calibre would light up the Q Cup. Absolutely light it up. He hasn't done it so far.
Well, he scored a try. He scored one try.
That's pretty good. Scoring a try is better than not scoring a try.
Not scoring a try. Yeah. Exactly right. What else have we got in the news?
After the paper house.
After the paper house on the West Tigers.
More player movement.
Of course, the West Tigers featured heavily in the news because they're just funny. Now, they make their fourth signing for 2024. Of course, a player that you might have forgotten about.
Old Julius.
Yeah, Julius Aiden Caesar.
Now, that's a man who's played at several different clubs, which is odd because he's actually very good at rugby league.
Yeah.
He generally has had a career where he's played well. He's been surrounded by some pretty crap teams that he played well in.
Yeah.
And yet here he is going to the Tigers.
Bit of a gun for hire, possibly.
Yeah.
Like he's
A bandito.
They always say, as the classic adage goes, it's the fifth club's the charm. So I'm sure the Tigers will get the best out of the 31 year, 205
This will
game
be the
veteran.
sixth club, which is the charm.
Is it the
no,
sixth?
that's five.
That's five.
Yeah,
That's
I can't
five.
read.
Yeah, that's all right.
Sorry, Jeff.
That's all right. Very good. Very good there with the statue of Caesar. They but look,
Do you know the interesting thing about Caesar? Caesar's actually the title.
Yes.
He was actually named Julius, but he's the one we know as the Caesar. There was several Caesars before him.
and after him?
And didn't the Roman Empire die with him?
No.
Oh, there was a couple after?
Probably a couple after. Yeah.
Anyway, I always thought that was odd.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is what you come to the Joust for, ladies and
you
gentlemen.
approached that whole conversation like you knew a lot about Roman history, and then
Nope.
and then you gave me a look that you knew nothing at all. Like they just packed up shop as soon as Caesar was dead. They're like, well, we're
We
out
followed
of here.
that. We're done. We had a good run. See you later.
They looked around. They said, "This
I
town's
said,
full."
hey, the Picts, take it over.
The town's full of barbarians. All of a sudden, they heard that Caesar wasn't in town anymore. He got stabbed. He got assassinated.
He did. Yeah, like Mark Antony.
Yeah, is that that doesn't sound right either.
Speaking of people who have stabbed their own careers in the back, Tavita Pangai Jr.
Yeah.
Now, this was an interesting one. Obviously, Tavita last week sensationally retired from rugby league, saying that he didn't actually like it. And he's come out this week and said that rugby league was forced on him by his parents as a child. Now, we've all had experiences of our parents forcing us to do things we didn't want to.
Sure.
All schoolwork, for example. I don't care what
Exactly,
anyone says. No one enjoys schoolwork, but you
Chores.
have to do it. Chores, you have to do it. Playing rugby league. If you grow up in Newcastle, it's pretty fair that you do have to do it.
If you're like you can't drive, but if there's but you know then it's like someone's arrived home with the shopping, got to carry the shopping.
You got to carry the shopping.
Yeah. You got to carry it.
Put the shopping away.
Yeah, it's a lot of.
And then you forget about it, and
Yeah.
the sausages are melt. And then
Back
you
of the
boot it out.
car,
You boot it out onto your ass to live on the streets.
Well, the sausages in the car for Tavita Pangai Jr. was in fact his decision to have a 10-year professional career in rugby league that he was decided at the age of 27 after 10 years of earning hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars, millions of dollars over his course of his career, that he decided it was actually his parents' decision and he shouldn't do it anymore.
Yeah, not a smart guy, Tavita.
We'll
he
soon
never
find
struck
out.
me as a Rhodes Scholar.
I won't be surprised if he ends up, in Wayne Bennett's pen up there. at the Dolphins.
With grandfather.
Oh yeah.
Granddaddy Wayne.
Well, of course, he did coach him in the Broncos.
Quite
though,
well,
so,
too.
yeah,
He coached
yeah.
him some very good footy. But I wonder who's forcing him into boxing, because he said, I've always been a fan of Choc Mundine. Do you think Choc Mundine's standing behind him going, hey,
Could be his uncle. Maybe.
right hook, slap him over the head? Of
Well, Choc Monday no longer boxes, so maybe he's looking for some sort of
course he doesn't. He's 100 years old.
protege, possibly. He's looking for
How old was Mundine when he retired? He was in his 40s,
40,
wasn't he?
yeah, I think 40 odd.
You can say what you will about the man, but that's a pretty decent career that he's had, which TBJ hasn't.
Earned a lot of money.
Yeah.
That's the other thing. He's looking at a boxer
What
that's
about the
earned
money?
that earned a lot of money, and he hasn't earned much money, but he's giving away a contract that's worth a lot of money.
Yeah. It's all money.
It's all money. But that's enough about player movements. Now, of course, we look at everything a bit broader of the exciting NRL competition.
Ladder movement.
Ladder movements,
Yes.
up and down and left and right and back and forth.
To and fro.
Twirling, always twirling. There's this is where the Knights could possibly end up now, is we've got our current position, which we're sitting at 7th.
Which is a nice position to sit this
Well,
close
we've-
to the finals.
Well, we've been there twice before in the last 3 years, and then best
Not
case
confidently, though.
Well, the best case finish is 4th. Top 4 finish is still a possibility for the Newcastle Knights, which
I didn't look at this graphic before. We can finish 4th?
4th, yeah.
Oh.
It's a mathematical possibility to finish 4th, but we could still do
I
it.
love mathematics.
The worst case finish, the worst case finish is of 9th,
Which
it's
that's
not so great.
gross.
But then they've got here the likely finish, which is a much nicer thing of 5th. Which I think,
that's pretty good.
but that sounds.
Does that
really
mean we get a
nice.
home final?
Well,
Or is it 6? Because it's first place. 5th
gets a home final? Yeah, the first one, but we don't get the second.
We'll be taking a week off work if that happens.
Oh, well, I'll take a month.
I might just
I
retire.
might never work again. Tavita Pangai Jr. I never wanted to work in the first place.
Or retire and move into the local professional wrestling career.
We got it there. there. It's right there in front
We've
of
got
us.
it made.
The Hamilton Station Hotel, professional wrestling. We might be a part of it. I hear it's a wonderful show.
That's a great show. The greatest show on earth.
If you
Or is that the circus?
Yeah, I think it was.
You know there's still circuses around?
With
I
animals?
keep seeing signs up. Well, that's the thing. I don't know if they have the animals, which
Yeah.
would have been, that used to be the biggest draw. Like, what do they have in a circus now? Because the clowns used to just fill the time between the animals. So if you haven't got the animals, are the clowns the main focus? Because I don't think a clown is funny enough to be, the touchstone of your show.
Do you like to be a circus different to anything other? A tent is pretty well, thrown around, but is it clowns plus animals? Would we accept that as a circus?
What about Cirque du Soleil?
Well, there's no
I've
animals.
seen Cirque du Soleil twice. It was incredible. I wept the first time. It was amazing.
Really?
Ladies and gentlemen, get your tickets to see Cirque.
Circus.
Yeah,
Circus
good
Soleil.
Canadian people.
Oh, is
in
it
Cirque du
Canadian?
Soleil,
I'm assuming they're French Canadian.
Yes. Quebecois.
Yeah. But one good thing coming away from the ladder moving up and down, left
Is
and
that
right,
there's no animals in circuses anymore. That's good.
That's good.
That's a good thing.
But also the very sad eel that can no longer make the finals. And this is a grand finalist team. They couldn't get over the last hurdle last year. However, they had another go at it this year, and they haven't even made the finals. We've got two of the very, very upset boys.
You love to see it, don't you? Isn't it a great sight to see the upset boys? They're doing this. They're doing a lot of this.
I saw them down walking around Parramatta Square, and they're doing this the whole way. And they go, "Can you believe it?" And we say, "Yes, we can.
We can believe it." Well, that's what happens when you swear at your teammates and just be rude. It's the rudeness that gets me the most, and it's rudeness that has cost the Eels their spot in the 8th. And that's a life lesson for you, Joust. It's a takeaway. If you take away anything from this show, and we know you take a lot from this show, it's that rudeness doesn't pay.
What does Jerry Springer always say? He's like, be kind to yourself and each other. At the end of the show, after he made dozens of people fight in front of a huge crowd. That was the circus of the 2000s, was the Jerry Springer show.
A retired mayor, I believe.
Yeah, Cincinnati. He was
Cincy.
Because he got
Which is not a small city.
He fell ass backwards into luck, that man, because he was, I think, had to stand down as mayor because he was caught with a prostitute. But then that scandal of being the Jerry Springer scandal, then he developed into a show to be like, bring on your scandals.
See, that was when scandals used to be fun.
Yeah.
Scandals used to be victimless crimes.
There were people, actual physical fights that people cheered on in that.
Yeah, because it's hilarious. It was a great show.
Yeah.
And then there was so many spin-offs. There was the Maury Povich show.
Yeah.
And then a bunch of others. I don't know. They were flashes in the pan.
Yeah, you're not. People call you, oh, you are not the father. Then they dance for 6 minutes, and then someone runs off crying, and they chase him. It's amazing television.
The entire family dynamic was torn apart at 12:30 on a Thursday afternoon.
It was great television.
Imagine that. You go over from seeing some poor people's life get ruined, and then Huey just going, here's this pasta sauce from Bilo.
That was your whole. If you were sick at home and you were like, well, I'm going to put the TV on, you have to get through the morning shows, and then you think maybe there's nothing on. Maybe Danos comes on, you watch it anyway, and then you hit that gold in the middle of the day.
Reese Eddie Cook,
Huey, and then that's
the cook and the chef.
Afternoon, the cook and the chef.
The funny thing about Huey was, all the other TV chefs you watch, and they're like, oh, and I made this sauce, and it took me 4 hours, and I made my pasta by itself. He's just like, I got this from aisle 6. he just like, oh,
packets.
This pasta's easy to open.
Packets.
He loved his packets.
He cooked everything in real time because everything was already pre-made.
It was great. Packets. It was the people's cooking show is what it was. It wasn't one of those fancy shows where you have to sweat the tomatoes for 4 hours. No. He was just like, you don't need to do that. Just buy a bag of Dolmia. Actually, sorry, Dolmia doesn't come in a bag.
But it was always just
a cask of Dolmia.
It was unashamedly Bilo, though, wasn't it? It was unashamedly Bilo. So we had the sad eel there. Obviously, they came out the finals anymore, and that's a shame. Surprise packet of the final series is how
I don't think anyone saw this coming.
The Warriors.
The Wars.
Up the Wars.
I think that's a silly name.
I do too. I can't really get around it.
Yeah, no, neither. I can get around the team though.
I would like to see the team do very, very well, unless the Newcastle Knights are playing them in a finals game.
People say that rugby league is better when Newcastle's strong. I think rugby league is not as better as when Newcastle's strong, but it's almost as better than it is when the Warriors aren't strong. Jesus Christ.
It is almost as better if. I think as they
Did I hit my head on Sunday?
Well, potentially. I don't know. You drug yourself into oblivion,
I think I smashed my noggin on something. Sorry, guys.
Surprise coach potentially of the year for the Dally M medal. No, Dally M coach
the Dally M coach of the year. And I think you say potentially, very warily, because the people who judge these awards often are dumb. calm.
Yes, that's true.
And so the coach of the year will probably go to someone who was like, oh, the coach of the year is
Kevin Walters. Yeah.
Oh, actually, that would be a pretty good shout.
Yeah, only because he did badly last year, though.
Which arguably makes him a better coach.
Potentially, but most improved coach.
Oh, that's a good
the
one.
most improved.
Yeah. Who was the best? Who brought the best oranges at halftime? It's a new Dally M category. But I think
There's
Andrew Webster is a shoo-in for coach of the year.
And if we're speaking about prizes, there's a very special prize getting around at the West Tigers, Liam, another favourite team to fall ass backwards into hilarity. There is the license to grill. Now this is Luke Brooks's present, I guess you could say, his gift, his departing gift. He served 11 or 12 years at the club. It wasn't a great success, but he's been the continuous force there. And they decided to say, look, we're gonna see you off and say thank you for everything you've done with a meat eater barbecue that you could get at Harvey Norman
for $1,000.
$1,000.
I'm glad that they specified this as why Brooks' $1,000 barbecue is outside the salary cap, because for me, I thought, oh my God, 11 years he's been there. That's an extra $100 on their cap for the last 10 years they've cheated him out of. Oh my God. So I'm glad that they have specified that this Beefeater barbecue, $1,000 worth of it, is outside the salary cap. Because I was beginning to be concerned.
I was beginning to worry.
I was reaching out to the forensic accountants at Bryden's lawyers.
This barbecue, Liam, that they've given Luke Brooks,
he looks intrigued.
He's gone straight under the barbecue lid there to check for something. And I wonder what possibly could he be looking for. Possibly the favourite gift for retirement or sending off is a gold watch. Was he looking for a gold watch underneath the lid? Or potentially maybe a meat tray
to use with that very barbecue.
Use the same.
An add-on, if you will.
It's like ready. The barbecue's ready to go.
Yeah.
We've got meat already prepared.
Could have been maybe a better barbecue.
A better
under there.
barbecue.
Just said, here's your barbecue, Luke. Here's a surprise for you. Opens up. Two barbecues.
It's a better one. Yeah, you thought it was a shit one that is surrounding a better one, being a Weber.
I'd still probably take the meat tray out of all of them.
Oh, the meat trays.
Because I used to work at the Fire Station Hotel in Wallsend. And we had meat tray raffles on Wednesday night and Friday night. So you really wanted to work Friday night and Sunday night because people would get in there, they'd get pissed, they'd leave the meat tray in the fridge.
Yeah.
After 2 days, legally, we can't give it back. It's like, oh no, this is... So I used to eat like a king.
Yeah.
I'd have steak every night.
Full of it.
Yeah. I brought home so many damn meat trays. It was fantastic.
We'll be right back to discuss everything about the Newcastle Knights win over the South Sydney Rabbitohs. We can't wait to do that after this halftime break. Welcome back to the second half of the Joust. Now, Lee, we've been doing this show for a very long time.
We have.
Yeah.
Surprisingly enough.
Years and
you
years and
haven't
years.
cancelled us yet, Jousters. Thank you.
Years and years. But following the Newcastle Knights for as long as we have, we've never, ever had an opportunity to talk about 7
We've
wins
never really
in
been
a row.
podcasting when the Knights were good.
No, we did it very badly. 2017, 18, 19, 20.
The wooden spoon years.
The
We
wooden
still had
spoon years.
record-breaking numbers.
Yeah, 20 we made the final. I thought they had a moment there. I thought, is it every year that we do this? They don't make the finals. But we're looking like we're going to make the finals. 7 wins in a row. We can't be stopped. Everyone hop on the train.
You know, they talk about the 7 stages of grief. I think what we're learning, Just, is that there's 7 stages of joy.
Joy, yeah.
I don't know what they are, but we'll come up with them for next week.
Some people get it. Some people get like everyone hop on the bus. You know, you gotta but anyway, everyone hop on the train.
On the Sid Fogs.
But we go on the train, Liam, and the train might stop at the Hamilton Station Hotel.
Well, if it doesn't, I'd be calling the conductor and saying, mate, I was going to go to the pub. Yeah. What have you done to me?
It's only if you get off at Hamilton Station, the train station, you immediately just walk across the road.
It's so conveniently located.
Now, especially now, when you're looking to go...
In this cost of living crisis, where petrol is $14 a litre, the train, all of a sudden, is a very, very good alternative.
Very cost effective. And if you want to go to the stadium, if you say, I want to have some drinks somewhere, you go to the before the game, you really soak into it. Go there, Hamilton Station Hotel. But if you're like, I've got a ticket, I really need to go to the game, hop up the train.
On the train.
Straight to Broadmeadow.
Straight to Broady.
Walk there. And then, but you want to get away from the riffraff, Liam. So you get back and you go 1 station up, you're back at Hamilton Station Hotel. You go from the gloriousness of...
So where's the riffraff? I'm missing where the riffraff is.
That's all around the stadium.
The stadium.
You know,
yeah, Broadmeadow is not much of a suburb.
Not
much happens in Broadmeadow. It's just kind of there.
Yeah.
It's like Adamstown, Broadmeadow. They're just there.
Yeah, Katara.
Yeah.
Who's getting on or off there?
People who need to go shopping. That's about it.
It's not even anywhere close to the shopping centre. Unlike the Hamilton Station Hotel, which is right across the road from the Hamilton Station train station.
But no shopping centres.
No shopping centres.
Yeah.
Not a shopping centre in
15
sight.
convenience stores on Beaumont Street, but not a shopping centre within QE.
If there's ever a vacant spot on Beaumont Street, you can guarantee there's going to be a convenience store with a slightly different...
Well, it's all that vape money, you see.
Well, it's a vape money.
The vape money.
It's the different name and a slightly different colour, but they're all selling chips for $6 a packet.
It's like Easy Mart, Quick Mart, Q-Stop Mart.
Q-Stop Mart. They're all convenient. Beaumont Street is the most convenient street in the entire world. If you lived on it and you need to get 2 litres of milk, sure, you're paying $9, but you don't have to walk very far.
Well, this is funny coming from a man who used to go buy toilet paper at the Servo,
Servo,
for $7 a roll.
Well, it was close. So,
see, that's how convenience stores make their money.
They do
Off
it.
bing bongs like you,
Yeah.
who
was a
won't front up and go to Woolies to buy a 24-pack of Kleenex.
I was a student at the time, and so
that makes it even sillier to buy it at such a high rate.
Oh, well, yeah, I didn't have any time. You see, lived in this tiny little apartment in Merriweather, which sounds la-di-da, but really it was just this.
It wasn't. Your room wasn't big enough for a bed. Frame.
No, it could not
you could
fit
the mattress. But you couldn't
in.
fit the frame of the bed.
It was sold to me as a 2-bedroom. Like, the real estate was like, you can rent this place. It was a 2-bedroom, and I was sharing with another fellow of mine, a friend of mine, Seth Bose.
Biggies, g'day,
and
mate.
he took the actual bedroom, and I took what's clearly a study that I could not fit. Well, I had a mattress, and then I had a chest of drawers, and I had
And a pile.
And then I had 2 bedside tables stacked atop of each other. That's all you could fit in the room. It was like I was moving constantly, but I lived there. It was a terrible, terrible time. And I bought toilet paper from the service station. A little glimpse into me there, everyone. Probably
A day in the life of Nagy.
Probably more than you wanted to know. But 7, Liam, 7. I didn't think it was possible. When we looked at this season, we had 9 games to go, and we said we have to win 7 of them if we want to make an argument for the finals.
I think we laughed at ourselves.
We did.
I think we said we're a pair of idiots, aren't we?
Yeah, we are. We are a pair of idiots. Yeah.
Exhibit A, just. Exhibit A.
But
Couldn't decide whether to say dickheads or idiots.
and then we said, well, we have to win. We have to win 7, but we can afford to lose 2. We still haven't lost any.
yeah, and we can afford to lose 2.
Yeah,
but we shan't.
but we shan't.
can.
But we
But we
shan't.
won't.
29,018 people. It was sold to us
All
as
wonderful people too.
Yeah.
I met every single one of them. I shook every one of their hands,
yeah.
and they were all just lovely people to deal with.
We were up there in the nosebleeds, Liam. We were so high up. I didn't realise the stadium seats go so high.
It's a great view from up there. I'm not going to lie. You see the whole field. You see everything that's happening. You can see the grubbery happening off the ball. You
Yeah.
can see the scuffles that you wouldn't see sitting in the fancy boys seats down the
You
front.
can see St. Peter welcoming people up into the sky.
You can see the Pasha Bulker about to pull into the Newcastle Harbour again, getting flashbacks all of a sudden.
It's one of those. I can see my house from up here. And I live on the Central Coast. That's high. That's very, very high. But yeah, well, we've moved now. The Newcastle Knights is widely considered the dark horse of the finals. The dark horse, Liam. The Dark Knight. The Black Knight. And we also have for and against is in the black.
Where do you think the dark horse saying comes from?
I don't know.
Like, what's different about a dark horse that a white horse doesn't have, or a brown horse doesn't have?
It must be like you can't see them coming at night.
At night time.
Nighttime. Yeah.
of
Because it
course.
was from
Should
a
be eating more
time.
carrots.
The time before street lights, you didn't see
Yeah.
any dark horses running around until they were already there.
Until they were already upon you.
Say, holy shit, the Newcastle Knights are in the grand final. I didn't see this coming because it's nighttime.
Well, horses are idiots anyway.
Also, it seems like a period where we've always had for and against that has been like lopsided. It's
Very
like,
lopsided. Even the year we made the finals in 2020, I think, it was a
2020?
very ugly for and
Yeah,
against.
yeah.
Very ugly. 'Cause
And-
we were winning gross, ugly, gritty games.
Yeah, we're gross, ugly, and gritty. That was what we were known for. But now we're winning.
Newcastle's tagline.
But now we're 130 points in the black. Odd, 129, something like that.
Excellent mathematics name.
I know. It's
It's lots.
Quickly. It's lots. It's hundreds of points.
Yeah.
If hundreds.
Well, it's 100.
100
and
means
half
one.
of 100.
Yeah. It's, but it doesn't matter, Liam. We're skirting on the joys of rainbows and lollipops and unicorns. But Liam, to get over that, to get there, we had to beat a team like South Sydney.
And this is a team, if you're forgetting, Joust, that were considered one of the Premiership's favourite teams to win earlier on in the year when the Knights were considered the favourite team to come last.
Yeah.
How the turntables
Have turned.
Yes,
They've done
yes.
exactly what they set out to do.
Yeah.
Turn. But it was Latrell Mitchell that was the big surprise there. Now, if you look at the Latrell Mitchell stats, which we have up on the screen for you, 24 runs, 204 metres, 60 return metres, you think, He's had a pretty good game.
That sounds like a gentleman's fullback game.
3 handling errors, 2 penalties going against him.
A bit of an elbow.
Yeah, there's
throwing his bows around a bit.
He was throwing his bows around.
That's rude.
Him and Tyson Frizzell had one of the good honest matchups. You don't see in NRL anymore.
Especially between a fullback and a second rower. That's not a match like a situation that's going to blow up too often. Yet here we are.
Last time I saw like a really good matchup was actually Scott Geddes and Jason Kalis in round 1.
What?
In 05. They had one of the best front rower. It was South versus Roosters. It was great. It was like Chief and that other guy that Chief didn't like. What was his name?
The Potato.
The Spud. The Potato.
Mark the Potato Carroll.
Yeah, it was like that, but we haven't really seen that ever
I'll
again.
tell you, no, we have again in 2018, Brisbane Broncos, South Sydney Roosters, featuring the very man we're currently slandering, Latrell Mitchell and James Roberts. One of the great centre battles of all time.
Yeah.
And it reminded, they were just going at each other all night. They were both scoring amazing tries. They were both outrunning each other, belting each other. Reminded me also of the 2011 grand final, Christian Inu and Steve Matai.
Oh, that was
another
good
great
as well.
centre battle.
Yeah.
So it's rare that we see such good kind of scuffles. For a second rower and a fullback to come together so often.
2 very big men.
Big man.
Big solid
But
men.
I like that Frizz, when he's in a scuffle like that, he just keeps his,
Keeps his cool.
keeps his face neutral.
It's not his first scuffle.
It's not his first scuffle, and it won't be his last. Not if we've got anything to do with it.
And also we've got, obviously, the great Tyson Gamble, who knows his way around a scuffle. Doesn't he ever?
That's the other beauty of watching from the very top. You can see how far away the players run for a scuffle. I think Tyson Gamble ran quicker than Usain Bolt to get to a couple of those scuffles.
But you remember, of course, he's a very polite man, so he yells in the air and he says, "Listen here,
hey,
I don't like you very much, and I think you're being very unkind to a teammate of mine."
So he lets you know about it.
And I think you should stop doing what you're doing right now. That's what he talks. He talks like a pirate. If you've ever spoken to Tyson Gamble, gamble responsibly. He speaks like a pirate, but in a very, very polite way. Yeah. He's like the pirate at the start of SpongeBob SquarePants. Are you ready, kids?
That's exactly who he reminds me of now. Yeah, I've been thinking all season, who does Tyson responsibly remind me of? It's the pirate at the start of SpongeBob. I didn't know until now.
It's there's
look, you can see the smile almost creeping from ear to ear there behind him, even on his back.
There he is, coming out of nowhere. But Latrell, unfortunately, I'm a big fan of Latrell. I love Latrell. I think he's one of the most naturally gifted footballers.
Amazing rugby league player. And great for the game. I'm not going to lie. I love Latrell as a man and as a player.
But this wasn't great. From right in front, he's managed to find that very, very skinny upright pole and launch the ball directly off it. If that's what he was trying to do.
Arguably, that's more impressive than succeeding at scoring, because Elliot and I, former Buttons man, were in the bar line.
Yeah.
And with 3 minutes in, we heard an enormous cheer. And what just happened? They said, Damien Cook scored. And we said, well, why did everyone cheer? And then we heard almost like a collective laugh.
Yeah.
And we got to our seats and it said 4-0. And we said, hang on, I thought he scored beside the post. Like, Latrell hit the post.
Hit the post.
Yeah.
Exactly what he was trying to do. He didn't he didn't understand the rules.
No.
He thought there's 2 posts, there's 2 opportunities. He's hit one of them. That should
I did the better one.
Extra, that should count for an extra point. But that's not ends where the South's drama stops, I should say. Of course, Cody Walker grabs the hair of Dominic Young, which has been a bit of an ongoing theme this year.
It's touched a nerve for Knights fans because, as we recall, it happened when Gagai Dane, I believe, was penalised for pulling Jerome Luai's hair.
But then,
in a much more inconspicuous. It was Frizzell.
It was
Frizzell.
Yeah,
sorry. Yeah. The man.
It looked more accidental, would you say? It looked like an accidental grab.
He was reaching for the jersey.
And
the jersey.
Then he
accidentally grabbed the locks.
But this was static hair. This was hair that was just there to grab.
Yeah.
And Cody Walker has grabbed the hair to try to reef him over the sideline.
And it was not in the attempt of making it tackle or anything. It was just in an attempt to be a dickhead.
Well, he was trying to pull him over the sideline. Thinks if I grab this hair, his head's going to flop back, and then he's going to end up over the sideline.
Didn't work, did it?
Didn't work.
Nice try, Cody.
Cody Walker.
Nice try, Cody Walker.
It was a game that was full of controversy, but it doesn't end where South's controversy also ends, because wasn't the best turn of phrase. There was the coach, Liam, of South Sydney,
Jason Demetriou,
has done an accidental socials, as I like to call it.
A little fax piss.
Yeah.
Where he's made a whoopsie.
where he doesn't understand when you click and like something on
People can
Twitter.
see it.
People can see it. Now, two of his players,
Former players,
Liam Knight and
Jacob Host.
was playing, and then someone commented, "We had both those players for us tonight. I wonder why we didn't lose by 50, having these clowns pretending to be first graders, and the coach of the first grade side liked it."
Now, they were playing for the Bulldogs, Nagy.
Oh, what?
Yeah, Liam Knight and Jacob Host were former South players
Oh,
who were not playing for Souths on the day.
Oh, I didn't understand.
You misunderstood this story.
Totally,
Nagy was speaking earlier today about how when it comes to social media, he lacks a brain.
I'm
Joust.
not on Twitter. I'm not on Instagram. I don't know what the heart means. I'm basically Jason Demetrio.
I wonder if he gets in fights with people on YouTube comments.
Yeah. Pretend to be
Like you
first
do.
graders. So why did they have to? But he's apologised to those players.
He had to apologise to those players because he slandered them.
He slandered
them
Well,
in the most humorous boomer way possible.
by being basically the guy. Like he didn't make the comment, but he was like, like,
Yeah.
hey, you're playing like shit. And he's like, yeah, you are. Like, so that's me. But I can sort of relate to Jason now in a sort of strange way that I didn't think I could do before.
You got much better set of ears on you, though.
Well, my ears are quite small in relation to my head.
Likewise.
But
We're a
Jason's
small-eared podcast.
Jason's ears are quite large in relation to his head.
The slight breeze, and he'd be
take off.
8,000 feet above sea level.
Well, you have to speak quietly because he could hear us right now before this actually goes to air. So now, but it wasn't controversy that ended there, Liam. The same game that we're speaking of, there was an 8-tackle try. Now it should have been a 7-tackle.
I missed this entirely until we went through the run through at the beginning of the show. Now you tell me what happened.
Well, Great Atkins miscounted.
I think we could, in this circumstance, call him Great Atkins.
Great
'cause he did lead to a Knights try.
He's a
great work, Atkins.
He's a great Atkins. He's but it should have been a 7-tackle set, but instead it turned out to be an 8-tackle set, in which starting at 0 rather than 1, and our very own Daniel Saifidi scores very close to the post off a Phoenix crossfield bombland.
That great little kick, he's pulled that off a couple of times this year. I think that might be the third try he set up using that very same little kick, and one disallowed try. So it's becoming a bit of a little Phoenix signature move.
Now,
perhaps.
I'm a huge advocate for giving the Knights 8-tackle sets all the time. So if you'd like to, I think that should be something that just continues on. But
the other polite thing Grant Atkins did was when
the great Atkins.
great Grant Atkins did was when the ball went through from a kick, he just said, Adam Clune's coming along. I'll just stop the ball for him. I'll just trap the ball, so it doesn't go over the sideline so he can touch it down a lot easier. I thought that was really polite of Grant to do that.
Soft feet, that's what he used. Yeah, just said, he goes, there you go, Adam. He goes,
Grant doing the soft shoe shuffle in the in goal there.
And look, it worked beautifully for us. Look, but we're not saying that was the reason the Knights won.
If anything, that was the reason the Knights didn't win by more.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how, but
the ref just got in the way with his 8 tackles and his feet. Couldn't be stopped.
But who else got in the way more importantly than men with hats?
Is men without hats.
Not in the context of what were you doing on our podcast. It's men with hats.
To take our hats off for a play that we think has done exceptionally well this week for myself has to go to the very same mention, Phoenix Crossfield Bombland.
Is Phoenix Crossland the form hooker of the last decade in the NRL? I don't think it's unsafe
I know
to
we
say
don't
that.
want to engage in hyperbole here, Liam, but as we often do, it's half the show. But really, like when he came in at number 9, everyone thought, well, it's a bit of a stopgap. I hope we can find someone else.
Well, you'll remember every living organism in this known galaxy said that he's the worst player in the NRL.
He's far from now, Liam. Now, there was lots of jokes made. He was the butt end of those jokes. When it was Origin time, they were looking for someone at 14, and they said that, maybe Phoenix Crossland could play.
And they laughed derisively.
He's not that far out of the picture. Let's be frank. I know everyone's...
I will be Francis.
I'll be Francis. Let's be Francis. He is playing exceptional football.
Would you say out of his skin?
Oh, I will and I shall. Yeah. Out completely.
And it is your right as an Australian in a democracy to do so.
To play out of his skin.
Yeah.
To say
that is your First Amendment right.
Yeah. He is absolutely playing out of his skin. And really, like, for someone that was never really considered properly as a hooker, coming into this, it just keeps playing better and better. The little kick in behind, the enormous efforts in defence.
The great service. He's absolutely beaming it into his halves, which his halves need.
Did you see that tackle that him and Kurt Mann
Oh, I did.
made against, who was it?
Famously, two small fellas.
Yeah, it was two small fellas against the big fella. The big
Shakai Mitchell, perhaps?
No, it was the other one. The back. Kalamatangi.
Oh,
Kalamatangi,
Keon.
yeah.
Ghost drop. Yeah.
Yeah, it was. He ran so hard into them, and then he was on his back, and there was not even. It was so perfect of a tackle that there wasn't even a question of potentially was this a HIA.
There was no foul play. All it was good boys making a good textbook hard hit.
Yeah, and I loved it. And
It
I
was
think that
brilliant.
I'm not going to say that was a turning point in the match because I think the Knights had ascendancy the entire time.
There
but
was no turning points at all. We had it from the kickoff.
from the kickoff,
Yeah.
but really that was just excellent to see live. It was wonderful to the crowd.
We could
go,
feel
"Ooh."
it. We could feel it in our waters,
Say,
just.
who was that? And
Yeah.
I leaned across and I said, "That's Phoenix Crossfield Bomberman."
He did. He looked at me and he said that, and the whole stadium clapped. 29,000 people looked at Nagy and they went,
Yeah. There we
Yeah,
go.
it was.
He's playing out of his skin there. Phoenix Crossfield Bomberman. There we go. Hats off to Phoenix. Who's your hats off, Liam?
Greg the Bus.
the Bus.
Greg the Bus. Now, sometimes something happens to a player that is a bad thing,
Yep.
and it's the making of their career.
Yep.
Greg slept through his alarm a couple of weeks ago, and he's been unstoppable ever since, except the Dolphins game where he was pretty bad. But besides that, he's been unstoppable since making the cardinal sin in rugby league of sleeping through the bus.
We'll have a look at
the
those
bus alarm.
Those stats, Liam. 17 runs, 241 run meters because he made that break straight down the middle as well. He
did.
Miraculous. 3 tries,
Yeah.
which, it's just an amazing feat.
And 11 tackle breaks. I'd love to see if that's leading the NRL in terms of tackle breaks for the year, because he's got to be up there, top 3 for certain, if not the leading tackle buster. He's just playing some incredible football. What a great player swap we've had with Greg the Bus.
Great, yeah. It's that's nothing to say against Randall. Randall's a good player
He's a
as
good
well.
player.
He's
been playing prop, funnily enough.
But he couldn't play anywhere as well as Greg the Bus has been playing. But
nor can many people, though, to be fair.
when we take our hat off, Liam, we must return a hat to something that we think is, but maybe it's more philosophical, really. When we,
It's a concept.
it's a concept, really.
Yeah.
We think
It's a vibes thing.
As,
it's Marbo.
not done. No,
it's a constitution.
It's a vibe. It's all of those things, and it's Ponga this week with his conversion kicking.
Purely for his conversion kicking, Joust. Besides that, he was amazing. Attacking down the left-hand side, running through the south at will. But his boot.
His boot. It's broken.
What happened?
Well, it was the same.
Well, now we know
it was
what
Greg.
happened.
The first 3 kicks was all to Greg the Bus, and it was all from exactly the same point. And you think maybe he would learn from one mistake. I'm going to try something different. But he made the exact same mistake.
You know who learns,
every
Maggie?
single time?
Nerds.
Nerds.
Kalen ain't no nerd.
No, he's a cool
No,
boy.
learning's for nerds.
Cool boy with auburn hair. But he's exactly like that. The character from Frasier, appearing on one episode, that wonderful show where he's the handsome man that can do everything except sing. And
he really is. He's such a good-looking fella. Look at that.
Yeah.
Great-looking guy. Hasn't got a set of pipes in him.
hats goes on to that fella from Frasier from that very one episode. Mark Tukey looking at his conversion rate. He's the conversion coach of the Newcastle Knights, as we all know. 33.33%, which is his best as the conversion coach this year. He's looking excited.
Well, that's what you get from Kalen. You either get 33.33% or you get 100%.
Yeah.
There's no in between. And I think that makes him even more of an enigma.
Yes, I
It
think.
makes him even more mysterious and
certainly is.
sexy. I like that about him.
Yeah, we're talking about Ponga and not Mark Tukey.
I refer to both of them. I can speak about 2 men in one sentence now. You don't tell me how to speak about men.
Liam, you like cows, horses, goats, and meerkats and whatever else they put into that delicious meat paste
I do.
encased in bread.
Oh, it's brilliant. It's one of the finest things that I enjoy in my life is my pie of the week, try of the week. Now, this week I've gone back to the grassroots. I've gone to a real good classic local bakery, Wood Rising Bakery.
It's a return service.
It is a
isn't it?
return. It's a return for Wood Rising Bakery.
Yeah. We mentioned before that does look a lot like a converted hospital.
It does. I can tell you safely that it isn't. It's a shopping centre that at one point had like 50% occupancy rates in the shop.
Back up now, is it? Is it
Yeah,
back
it
up-
is
back
actually.
up
They've
to
opened a
60?
craft butchery and a new op shop.
Oh, hello.
Yeah, so it's a bit more full. But the pie itself, now, it reminded me of the Bradman Best try.
Yeah.
As you can see, there's a bit of pastry missing off the top. On the way out to the car, I bumped it. And some pastry came off.
Yeah.
Much like the South Sydney player bumped the pastry off by dropping the ball. But when I bit in, I found the most amazing, rich, overflowing, fine ground beef in a rich gravy that was Bradman Best streaking away, running 75 to 80 metres and scoring.
So fast.
So fast. And it was the perfect temperature. I ate it so fast.
Yeah.
And it was so really filled up,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
it didn't drip out.
It didn't drip out.
It threatened to drip out. but it didn't drip.
So it wasn't too viscous.
It was not too viscous.
It held
Perfect viscosity.
Held its shape, much like Bradman Best held his shape to score the try.
There we go. You're seeing magic happen here, Joust.
Source report, Liam. We've done one before.
Again, they just give it to you, and you don't know if you pay for it or not because they don't quantify it. But I will say, a bit of entrepreneurial ingenuity. Their FPOS system was down, and they said, "We can only take cash. Please use the ATM."
Oh, they sent you to the ATM.
They did.
Did you have to pay an ATM fee?
$3.
Okay.
In this economy, in this cost of living crisis, $3 to simply take out money that's mine anyway.
To purchase food, which you need to live?
I'd die if I don't have that.
Yeah,
if I don't get food in my belly every day, I die. And I think most humans would likely. Or maybe a couple of days, I don't know. I'm no scientist. I'm not a dietitian.
Is potentially
my pie consumption shortening my life? Maybe.
I was going to say, is that bit? I'm not casting any aspersions on the wonderful wood rising bakery, but is their FPOS system ever working?
Yeah, actually it is. I've gone there a number of times and it works a treat.
Okay,
usually.
wonderful. Okay, I wasn't sure if it was just one of the things like it's out of action again today, guys.
No, this is a very legitimate business.
Okay, yeah. I wasn't saying that they're trying to avoid tax. No. But
and I wouldn't begrudge them if they should. Tax is criminal.
Yeah.
Taxation is theft.
Oh, you're saying it's tax and theft.
Taxation is theft, especially on a thriving small business.
Yeah.
It's just government getting their fingers in the proverbial pie.
Pies, yeah.
And maybe the literal pie, I don't know.
Excuse the pun.
I don't know if Albo's back there just fingering all the pies.
Potentially.
Yeah.
Into the rich gravy.
End taxation in this country, Anthony Albanese.
Yeah.
I call on you to do so as a taxpayer.
We started off doing something, Liam, and now we've gone full Socialist Alliance on this podcast, which is wonderful to see. But Liam, we got 2 for the price of 1. Watching the men's game, we also got the women's game.
What a tight, exciting game!
They're up there again. They've 5 played and 4 wins. They're up there, number 2. Now this was a game that the Knights didn't look like they were going to be. Wasn't in front for the entire game.
Yeah,
the Broncos came out to quite a lead there, and it was 4 tries apiece, only winning by conversions, possibly getting Jessie Southwell to appear for the men's side so she can kick in place of Kalen Ponga's kicking.
Which, when you think about it, you have 8 interchanges. If we score 8 tries, you make no interchanges besides the Ponga Southwell interchange for the kicks.
Yeah, the kicks, the kicking. Kicking, of course.
You have to wear shorts because it's good for kicking.
Good for kicking with shorts. But of course, it was an exciting game to see. After 55 minutes, it looked like the Knights were out of it. But they ran through some late tries, and it was
of course against the Broncos as well, as we know, the bigwigs. The bigwigs,
the bigwigs. They thought they had us, but no. They're
the establishment.
Defending premiers are holding up very, very strongly.
Yeah. No signs of second-year syndrome.
And of course, just for the pure emotion after that kick, Jessie Southwell gets my hats off for this week, which was amazing to see when they kicked back in front. Looking at the crowd, there was thousands. I think it was 20,000 there. And you could feel it within her that she was so very, very excited.
It was reverberating throughout the stadium.
The stadium shook at one stage. I wasn't sure what it was, and I realised it was her energy.
It was shoddy building codes.
The whole thing could come down at a moment's notice. Wait, Liam, for us to go 8 in a row, we have to get over a team now. The Cronulla Sharks,
a resurgent Cronulla Sharks, Nagy.
Yeah,
they've resurged.
It would be much better if we'd played them a few weeks ago when they were shit.
They would be.
But in 7 in a row here, we got all those colours. The Bulldogs twice, the Dolphins, the Tigers, the
blue,
Storm,
orange,
the Raiders.
purple, more blue, red,
white,
the Rabbits,
and most recently the Rabbitohs.
Yeah.
But we move on to the Sharks, a slightly harder task of a team that's in form.
But the good thing, Nagy, about coming into this game where we are currently, the Sharks are tremendously bad against teams in the top 8. When we played them early in the year, we were not in the top 8, and they dismantled us in Coffs Harbour, of course.
Yes.
We are now in the top 8. So maybe the dismantling will go the other way.
Their Achilles heel. We named an
Their
unchanged
Achilles fin.
I was going unchanged lineup, but of course Adam
shit.
an unchanged lineup to. That's all right. We can live through this. There's Jackson Hastings comes back in for Adam Clune, who did a marvelous job. Adam, you were a hair off a hats off. I really
think
do.
Adam Clune needs to be given a good talking to. About how good he was.
Oh, right. Yeah,
a good talking to. Yeah.
Like literally a good talking to.
As soon as I got the sentence out, I realised that my intonation and my inflection was all wrong. Adam Clune, well done, buddy.
Well done.
You did what you had to do. That's all anyone can ask of you.
But
you stepped in and did it well.
The Cronulla Sharks, I think they've won the last 3 or something of that nature, and they're doing very well. And we've got a history of playing the Cronulla Sharks up there, which
most teams have histories of.
Their season of sorry, I had my glasses on. Their season of wins and losses. They've won their last 3, but they lost their 3 previous to that. But then
they won their 3 previous to that.
So lost their 2 previous to that. Won their 2 previous to that.
Win, loss, win, loss, win, loss. Oh, I've gone cross-eyed.
I've gone cross-eyed. I'm not sure. There might be a pattern there somewhere.
Either way, it's safe to say that the Sharks have won some games, but also lost some games.
Yes,
unlike other NRL teams.
And then hopefully we are playing them in the time that they lose.
Well, they've gone 3 wins, 3 losses, 3 wins. They're due. They're due
loss.
Yeah.
That's fine.
That's science.
And we will be happy enough to give them another loss.
We'll be ecstatic to do so.
Liam, last year we only won 6 games at total.
And we've done more than that in an unbeaten run.
Yeah, we've won 12 games now. 8 of those have been at home. We've only played 11 games there. We're about to play our 12th
Maybe
and
is
final.
it back to being the fortress that it once was?
Hopefully. Well, we've set it up.
You know what they need to start doing? I remember in the early days, you'd hear the stories about they'd go into the opposition change rooms before the game and just hose everything down, make it really wet and uncomfortable.
Well, Robbie O told us they turned
Robbie
the
O
hot
told
water
us.
off in the away sheds, which I think is just...
Which is hilarious.
It's a very, very funny story.
Yeah, that's great.
But we've got some danger
Rugby
players.
league aren't bastards anymore. Rugby league people used to be bastards.
Liam, walk us through the danger players for the Cronulla Sharks we have up on the screen.
We've
now.
selected 3 of them. Left, Britton Nakora. No, that's, sorry.
That's all right.
Daryl Trindle.
Right.
Daryl's son. That's another thing, though. It's great to see so many sons and nephews of mediocre 90s rugby league players back. You got Braden Trindle here. You got Sean Garlick's son playing down in Melbourne.
Yeah.
Connor Tracy, of course, son or nephew of Darren Tracy, I think.
They're all Darren.
Rod Wishart's son's running around. Although Rod Wishart was not very...
was pretty good.
He was very good. He played Origin. I think he played for Australia. But it's good to see all these great 90s rugby league names coming back. So he stepped in for Matt Moylan.
Yeah, who's out on the bench. Yep.
And now on the bench, which is an odd decision because he sucks now. He's been really bad. So he's a danger man to watch out. Can kick a 40-20. He's got a great boot on him. Nicholas Hines, of course, we know.
Yes.
We know how beautiful he is. We know how amazing he is at rugby league. We know that we need to watch him, get frizz on him, just
kill
rough him up a bit.
Yeah.
Just kill him a bit. Yeah. And then that very man I just mentioned, Connor Tracy, taking the spot of Will
Kennedy.
William Kennedy.
Will Kennedy. It's a bit of a new look.
Having a shocker.
A new look spine that seems to be working for the Sharks.
It's working well. Connor Tracy's a really good player. He's very fast. He's got some electrical footwork.
Yeah.
Very good player.
Should be playing for the Eels.
Sure.
But of course, I've also
said
got
the Storm.
Shit.
Because not all eels are electric eels.
True.
But all electric eels are eels.
But why the hell can all eels be electric at all?
Now you messaged me this the other night, and I never thought about it. Why is it the only animal in the universe that can produce electricity?
Superpower.
How do they get that power?
I don't know.
Who decides that?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I never.
It's not fair.
It's one Wikipedia page away from us working it out. This is how they do it. But I just wanted to text you and say, what the hell are eels?
You know, there's a shrimp that can punch so powerfully that it creates a vacuum in the ocean.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's power.
What's it punching?
It punches its opponents.
Right.
Prey. Sorry, it's prey. Yeah. They're not just going out doing fights in the middle of the ocean.
I much prefer opponents. Yeah. But if you're going to be watching the which is the women's game as well, this is the Knights versus Sharks as well. Is that what we got on the screen there? Yeah, the 1:45 game is the ladies taking
no
on
12:03 kickoff this week.
No 12:03. Is that also the Sharks? Have we got that correctly? Yeah, we got this. It's a double Sharks header. 2 fins, Liam. 2 fins. 2 joust sticks.
Which is great doing shark movies back to back. You ever done all 3 Deep Blue Seas back to back? I only recently found out that there was a second and a third Deep Blue Sea.
They get bad.
Awesome.
Yeah.
No, they're brilliant. Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah.
It's so sick. Yeah. But I also like Jaws 4, so, take that with...
Michael Caine?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
He said that movie's so great, he never saw it, but he saw the house that it built, and it was fantastic.
Course, yeah.
Great Michael Caine.
It built my daughter a house. That's what he said.
Yeah, something like that.
That's Michael Caine, ladies and gentlemen. There's... if you can't get to because this game's going to be sold, it's probably sold out right now.
Oh, it better be.
Beginning of the week.
Yeah.
And you can't see the ladies and the men's take on the Sharks and the Sharks of those 2 genders as well. Where can you go, Liam?
Hamilton Station Hotel, ladies and gentlemen.
Hamilton Station Hotel. For
wonderful place.
Pre-drinks if you're heading to the game. If you're not heading to the game, head straight to the Hamilton Station Hotel and enjoy the ambience of the greatest pub in Newcastle.
Sunday night, probably be some live music after the game as well.
What more can you ask for? Now, Liam, we wouldn't be able to have a Joust episode without ripping open your sack.
Yes, tear it open. Let's admire the contents and really get down into our elbows about them. Who have we got this week, boys?
Hello, fellas. One for Liam, Do you think the NRL should bring in a similar thing to the ice hockey's power play rules for sin binnings when it comes to allowing a player to come back on after points are scored? Love the show, fellas. Thanks.
Thank you, Anonymous Man. Liam, that's a good question for you.
It's a great question. Thank you for asking it.
Can you walk us through this NHL sort of...
so what happens in the NHL, you can get penalised for, I believe, 2 minutes or 5 minutes, and you go off.
Jump over the side as they do.
You put into a box. Yeah. But then I believe, and I could be wrong on this, but when a team is scored against and they have the man short,
the advantage is being
completed. The player comes back.
They welcome the man back.
Now, would this work in the NRL Rugby League? I don't think so.
What I wouldn't mind, because obviously we saw Latrell Mitchell sin bin with 2 minutes to go. I would like that if he was named next week, that he has to still wait out those 8 minutes.
Oh, that's a great idea, Nagy.
It's a roll on.
It's a rolling sin bin. Yeah. Oh, I love it. See, that's an excellent idea. Because and I was thinking about this. People always talk, bring back the 5 minute sin bin. Let's have a 5 minute. Let's have a 10 minute. It's already hard enough to agree on a call when there's two options.
Yes.
No sin bin. Sin bin.
Sin bin, yeah.
Now you're introducing a third option. No sin bin, 5 minute sin bin, 10 minutes sin bin.
Well, they used to have the 5 minute.
It used to be only 5, but a lot of people calling back say, let's have 5 and 10.
Right.
We can't even decide between none and 10. Yes. Now we've got to decide between none and 5 and 10.
Too much.
It's chaotic. That is absolute, and I'm sorry to say it, those people who hold that opinion.
Lunacy.
Idiocy. Lunacy. It's moronic. Absolutely moronic. So that's an interesting point that this anonymous man has brought up in the sack.
Yeah.
I think that the 10 minutes is an appropriate punishment. The player should stay off for all of it. But should carry over. Continuously should carry over.
Last round of the season, first round next year. Mm-hmm. You've still got 7 minutes to serve.
Yep, love it.
It could take a bit of weight off suspensions as well.
Could do.
Because you're like, look, he's not suspended for next week, but he's only going to play 73 minutes.
Yeah. He's suspended. He's got a 7 minute suspension.
He's got a 7 minute
at
suspension.
the judiciary.
But he's trying to get it downgraded to 6. We've got another question here.
Hello, John Ross again. Big fan of you boys. You're doing a fantastic job. I was just talking to the wife, Sal, and we were talking about how well Adam Clune played on the weekend. And we know that he's a pretty fast runner, but we were wondering how much of a head start would he need to beat the great Dom Young in the 100-metre sprint. Love to hear your thoughts, boys. God bless.
Adam Clune over Dom Young. Now, Adam Clune does have some wheels on him. Would you say that he's faster than Dom Young?
Now, my thing with that is that it wouldn't be Adam Clune's speed.
Yeah.
But he reminds me so much of Frodo from Lord of the Rings that he would use his cunning.
And
maybe those flying eagles to beat Dom Young in a 100-metre race.
Also,
he wouldn't have the legs to beat him, one-on-one in a fair race.
No.
But if he were allowed to use, his connection with Gandalf the Grey.
Yeah, fly you fools.
Yeah,
possibly.
Fly you fools. And he would fly, in fact. So I think if you're looking, John, great question as well, by the way. Say hello to Sal for us. I really miss her lasagna. I think if it were a fair race, one-on-one, starting and only being able to run,
yes.
No. Would be close.
Yes.
But no.
Yeah.
But if he were allowed to use his, networking and connections within the wizarding community,
yes,
I think he'd be okay.
I think Adam Clune is a very, very fast boy and always has been. Largely hampered by a knee injury. But also, when
famously important for running your knees.
When Adam Clune needs to run, he runs. When Dom Young gets the ball and needs to run, he has this meter of looking shocked that he's caught the ball. His hair flies back and it looks like
what is this white oblong in my hands?
The gears take a second to kick in. So I think if it was a ready, set, go, Dom Young has it over there. But if it was just a go, Adam Clune's already away.
Interesting.
Yeah, but you do have the big man, small man payoff.
Which is always great to see a big man, small man competing in anything in rugby league.
That's
the beauty of rugby league. There's big men, there's small men. They compete every week against each other.
That's how MMA started.
That's the foundation of society in Australia. It's the small man trying to knock off the big man.
The underdog story. Hopefully we can continue this underdog story.
You never hear about an overdog story.
No, we don't like overdogs. We like underdogs. The Newcastle Knights continuing their underdog run with the NRL, hoping for 8 wins in a row against the Cronulla Sharks. I hope you're with us next week when we discuss all of that. But we are, if you like us, please like us on Facebook, SoundCloud, YouTube. I say SoundCloud, it's not even up there every single time.
Apple
Instagram.
phone.
Is SoundCloud up there? You're paying for it. Yeah, it's true. I am paying for it. Joust, it's been lovely to see you once again. We'll catch you again next week. It's been a blast. See you.